Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the DFS Hockey Report. It is Monday, November the 24th. Zach, how are you doing today? That was pretty impressive. I thought I was going live without you. You were kind of setting things up as we were going here, and you made it back just in time. So welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you. I've actually been watching the Cars movie series, so my speed in getting back here on the show with my second laptop was all in thanks to he has inspired me. Ka-chow.
There you go. Welcome into another edition. We've got a 7-game slate on our hands today. It is a very weird week here in the NHL with American Thanksgiving. So the schedule for the show this week is going to be a little bit wonky. But we'll do what we can here this week. We'll try to come live tomorrow for the little one gamer. We got 2 15-gamers, so a couple of shows this week that are going to be longer, some a little bit shorter. And it should be a fun week, a kind of an interesting week. Let's take a quick look at it. I think it's 7 tonight, 1 tomorrow. 15-0, 15. It is absolutely diabolical. So let's get into tonight's 7-game slate. Looks like a nice one. We've got Logan Thompson likely to get the start for the Washington Capitals. It's going to be Elvis Merzlikins for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Andrei Vasilevsky goes for the Tampa Bay Lightning, who will be without Braden Point this evening, but Nikita Kucherov is good to go. So no Point, no McDonough, no Hedman there. Philadelphia will go with Sam Harrison. It's going to be Jacob Markstrom most likely for the New Jersey Devils. We're projecting to see Cam Talbot for the Detroit Red Wings. He's just drastically outplayed John Gibson, and I think that is time to probably give Cam some more run here. Igor Shesterkin starts the New York Rangers, who will be without JT Miller. The Blues will go with Joel Hofer. The National Predators, who got Roman Josi back over the weekend, will go with UC Saros. It'll be Daniil Tarasov, who relieved Sergei Bobrovsky over the weekend to get the start for the Panthers. Darcy Kemper will face Levi Merrill-Linen. And then in the late game, we've got Karel Vejmelka likely to start for the Utah Mammoth. Originally, it was projected reported that it was going to be Vanacek, but then Vejmelka was the first goalie off the ice. So looking like Vejmelka there, unclear who we get for the Vegas Golden Knights. Zach, you were a touch choppy when you first jumped on. How you feeling right now?
I feel good. I hope that's not going to be the case for the show today, but we will take things moment by moment.
There we go. You sounded a little bit better now. So let's dive right in with game number 1. If you missed the start of the last show of last week, I added weighted team ratings to the charts this past week. A lot about what I talk about in terms of where teams rank in terms of 5v5 XG, 5v5 XGA. Throughout the show, I was kind of referencing it frequently without actually showing you anything on screen. So now gives you a little bit better visual of like which teams are performing well. And then as always, the charts break down on a more individual line by line basis. I also added something that we used to have back in the day, and I honestly don't know why I ever got rid of it, but it's just the power play report that's ranked from best to worst as opposed to just game by game. So you have both of those options available to you now. Helps, I guess, keep things a little bit more organized, a little bit better visual as opposed to trying to find which games or which teams have the best 5v5 matchups or power play matchups, excuse me. Zach, would you like to take game number 1 or game number 2?
You know what? You go ahead. You take number 1 off the rip today because that'll get you lined up for the Detroit Red Wings.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, the Washington Capitals, who are expected to be quite chalky this evening, they host the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets, as mentioned, going with Elvis Merzlikins. I actually liked the Blue Jackets money line last night, but I didn't bet it because I was a little nervous about it being a potential Merzlikins start, and that ended up being the case. So I feel vindicated there. 3.5 implied total for the Washington Capitals, the highest on the slate. 2.8 implied total for the Blue Jackets. I will say the Blue Jackets defensively, obviously a team that struggled a lot defensively early in the season, but the numbers are starting to improve. I don't think they're maybe quite as bad as they were a few weeks ago, but this is a Washington Capitals team that is like kind of the complete opposite of who they normally are. Normally, they've been a team that has struggled a little bit at 5v5 and then has been obviously a lead on the power play with guys like Alex Ovechkin, but it's the total opposite here. The 5v5 metrics are outstanding, and the power play has been really shit. So in terms of their stacks tonight, I mean, it's easy to see why they're chalky this evening. They are grading out just tremendously well in the charts. Washington 1 grades out number 1 overall. Washington 2 grades out number 5. Washington 3 is even in the top 25 tonight. And I think that Washington 3, at least Ryan Leonard, at the very least, is somewhat interesting tonight because over the weekend, so I just mentioned that the power play has just been absolutely downright terrible. And yesterday in practice, they decided to change things up a little bit. So they've been going with a two defenseman look on that top power play unit pretty much all season, but they're going to move John Carlson down to unit number 2 and move Ryan Leonard up to the top power play unit. So at $3,200, I think he represents a pretty nice value option. Connor McMichael's played pretty well. Even on the third line, he's been averaging like 17 minutes a night. So I think those two, if you're looking for some salary relief in deep tournaments tonight, are a pretty interesting value option because they've got a really, really good matchup, as do the rest of this Washington Capitals team. And then the underlying metrics, or sorry, the pace score in this one is the highest on the slate. So yeah, like the underlying metrics are just outstanding for this entire top 9, honestly, all 4 lines. But the matchups are obviously very good as well. They don't really hard match, so everyone's going to get a little taste of this top 6 for the Blue Jackets, which has really struggled defensively. So, yeah, it's kind of it feels like an all-you-can-eat buffet a little bit with the Capitals tonight because the price tags are just egregious. 6,600 for Ovechkin, who's been playing very well as of late. Strome is just always pretty consistent. Maybe not the most shot volume, but a consistent source of production at 5,800. Really, really nice price tags there. Then the second line at 12,100 is just bafflingly cheap. Protoss is obviously a stud. So Deef's even providing a little bit of shot volume right now. Tom Wilson's obviously Tom Wilson and can get on the score sheet with regularity. So this top 9 for the Capitals seems to be positioned really well with Merzlikins getting the start this evening. On the Blue Jackets side, I think things are a little bit more tricky here, mainly because Kirill Marchenko apparently left the morning skate this morning with what is believed to be an injury, and now he is a game time decision tonight. That obviously takes a lot of the shine off of Columbus One if he ends up not playing. This is a line that's performed, very, very well. They draw an okay matchup tonight. Like if Marchenko's in at pretty minimal ownership, I think I will buy into Columbus One tonight. They grade out 6th best. Without Marchenko, I think it's a bit of a tougher sell. It is worth mentioning that Yegor Chinakhov will move up to that top line or is expected to if Marchenko is out. And, at $13,300, Chinakhov is certainly not Kirill Marchenko, but I think they still represent a value line, a line that's going to be, $13,000 that's going to play 20 minutes tonight. So, I certainly think the upside is much more limited with Chinakhov instead of Marchenko, but the price tag is obviously somewhat appealing. So yeah, that would probably be the extent of my Columbus interest this evening. Again, not a great power play for either side here, but the penalty kills suck on both sides as well. So I think that like guys like Zach Werenski and some of those Columbus power play players are certainly in play tonight. But again, without Marchenko, I think a lot of the shine kind of is scrubbed off of this top power play unit and this top line. So keep an eye on him. Luckily, it's the first game of the night. So let's dive right into game number 2 with Zach and take it away. You've got the Tampa Bay Lightning hosting the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, worth mentioning. Beebs in the chat saying Marchenko is officially out for tonight. So definitely a bit of a wrinkle there.
I must have missed the official announcement unless that just happened, but I was under the impression that he was a game time decision, but that definitely makes things extremely interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting second game of the night here as well. We've got the Tampa Bay Lightning hosting the Philadelphia Flyers, -175 favorites. These Lightning are 3.4 implied total for them, +157 on the money line. For the Flyers, 2.6 implied total for them. The Lightning have kind of been an interesting team as of late. I've kind of liked the way that they've stacked up this top line here with Brandon Hagel, Nikita Kucherov, and Anthony Cirelli. The line stats for these guys continue to be strong. I mean, Tampa One is the real engine behind this team, driving things for them. Grading out as the number 9 line to target in this game tonight. Tampa 2 coming in 22nd, and Tampa 3 all the way down there at 35th. I'm definitely going to be getting to some of this Tampa Bay team here. Philadelphia has been a team I think that has surprised a lot of people. It feels like there's been a little bit more warts in their game, especially at 5-on-5 here as of late. So, this is a powerhouse Lightning offense, still wanting to see a little bit more from them on a regular basis, but it does feel like guys, like Brandon Hagel, Nikita Kucherov, Jake Gensel have kind of been turning a bit of the offensive corner here as of late. And Kucherov has been great against the Flyers in his career. 28 games played, 11 goals, and 34 points. The matchup isn't tremendous for this top line tonight. They are drawing a fair amount of ownership at 13.6 15.6%. Definitely going to be one of the higher owned lines here on the slate as a whole tonight. I don't think I'm going to necessarily get up to that 15% mark on them, but I'm definitely going to be getting there. Anthony Cirelli, he's been solid up there on that top line. Problem with Cirelli is there's not really much of a floor to speak of. It kind of gets interesting when you look down this Tampa Bay Lightning lineup, because I think there's some other interesting pieces here. Like, I don't feel great full stacking that Tampa 2 line, but I think Jake Gensel at $7,500 is an interesting play. Would like to see a little bit more shot volume from him, but the point production has been there. This third line for the Lightning is also one that I think is a bit interesting, especially with Nick Paul there. The highest ranked value forward on the slate tonight at just $2,800. He's drawing 8% ownership here on this slate tonight, obviously up there on that top power play unit. So I think that's an interesting kind of one-off option there. I'd be fine playing him with a little bit of Yanni Gourde as well at 5-on-5. The problem is that the Lightning just don't have the best power play matchup here tonight. Their power play has actually struggled a little bit to start the season here, which is kind of surprising to me. Kind of in the same boat as like Colorado in the this year, where it's like, a power play that's been so good for so long, but just can't seem to put it together this year. On this Philadelphia side of things, I think I'm going to get there with a bit of ownership as well. This team has been, I think, like I mentioned, a lot better than kind of expected this season. The matchups aren't great for this team. The line stats aren't necessarily the strongest here either, but it feels like the game could be a little bit higher scoring here on this slate tonight. Maybe not. The pace score isn't actually as high as I thought that it was. Maybe a little bit lighter on the Flyer side of things, but this second and this third line have been extremely productive as of late. I think that's the reason I got a little bit of interest here in maybe a little bit of Philly 2 or a little bit of Philadelphia 3. Brock, where do you kind of come out on this game here?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't really have a ton of interest in the Flyers right now. I think that this, I think there's reason to buy in a little bit with the Lightning as banged up as they are. But I just don't really know if you can consistently rely on offense from any one of these lines right now, and in like any meaningful manner from a DFS standpoint. Like, I just think that it's like, it's pretty bleak here. They're pretty fortunate. They're a really good defensive team, which I think kind of sucks a lot of the value out of this game from a Tampa perspective. But I'm more interested in this Tampa side. Like, this top line, I think, is just really nice value tonight. Hagel at $6K is great. Strelly at $4,500 is great. Nick Paul on that top power play at $2,800 is great. Like, I understand that, like, the power play matchup is certainly far from ideal this evening, but like, Sam Harrison's just been shit. He's just been terrible. I've kind of been a believer in Harrison. I kind of have trusted the Flyers coaching staff, and they're constantly echoing the fact that they truly believe in him and think he's going to find his game. And it's just been like basically a year now where he just still has no game. He's an .844 save percentage on the year. He's giving up 3.5 goals per game. Like, I'm just going to buy in on the Lightning tonight and the fact that Harrison's just not playing well. And I think, like, you've got Dominic James on the second line. You've got Gage Goncalves on the second line. You've got Sam Gisgergensen's on the third line. Like, this top line is going to get as many minutes as they can handle if they want to win this hockey game tonight. So I think the Lightning top line's in a really interesting spot tonight. I think the ownership is obviously pretty high, but I'm kind of willing to eat some of that chalk. I think this is a pretty good spot for them with Harrison getting the start, even though the Flyers have obviously been quite good defensively. On the road, they're not going to be able to dictate the matchups they want. So I like this top line to find a good matchup tonight and hopefully get on the board. My apologies on the Marchenko stuff. Luckily for me, it did come across like literally at 3:36 as we were coming live. So I haven't just been, not paying attention today. That was brand new information. So I'll alter the charts for all of the Discord users after the show to reflect that Marchenko change. So Igor Chinnikov will be on the top line tonight. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, what do you like? This feels just like the Kings, man. Like, they can't really score, and then it's like, which line do you really play? Like, obviously they've all kind of had their moments this year, right? Like, this Zegras, Dvorak, Tippett lines had its moments. Forrester, Cates, Konechny's had its moments. Mishkov's had its moments, but sometimes he plays 10 minutes a night. Like, I just don't know if I can trust the Flyers on a 7-game slate.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there entirely. But, I think for me, like, just the past production here, as of late has been really strong. I mean, this second line and third line are averaging like a ceiling of like 28, 29 points per game. 13, 14 points is the floor. So I think for that reason, like I'm okay throwing, 5% ownership at that second line and 5% at that third line. That the nice thing about that second line too is there is correlation on the power play. Terrible power play matchup for them, but just a couple of more minutes a game that they're all together. So I've got a little bit of interest. I mean, I think just with all of these injuries that the Lightning are dealing with right now, a pretty thin blue line as well, even though they've probably been punching above their weight class here as of late. I'm okay throwing a little bit of ownership there. I'm not going to go crazy or anything like that, but I feel like there are spots that have been productive as of late as a whole, these lines. So I'm willing to get there a little bit, but certainly nothing crazy.
I think this is the first time this year that I've been kind of lower on Philadelphia and you've been higher. We've flipped the script on ourselves tonight. Let's get to game number 3. The Detroit Red Wings will be paying visit to the New Jersey Devils. The Devils are minus 130 home favorites, a 3.2 implied total for them, 2.8 for the Detroit Red Wings. I bet the Red Wings overnight. I think the Red Wings, I got them at plus 125. They're plus 118 now, so not a huge move, but always makes you feel good when you got that CLV. The Devils top line though grades out number 1 overall tonight, and I think like it makes some sense, right? They've basically put all of their best forwards that remain in the lineup together. You got Meyer, Hischier, and Bratt together on that top line. 18,200 is a very okay price tag for them. If Simon Edvinsson remains out for the Red Wings tonight, that's another blow to that blue line that has had its fair share of struggles this year. And whenever Travis Hamonic has to step into the lineup, it's kind of not ideal. Detroit, I absolutely loved when DeBrincat, Larkin, and Raymond were together. Like, they were so dominant. I would like to see them back together. I didn't, it didn't work out the last time we did a show, but I would have loved to see them back together. I think that is just one of the best lines in hockey when they're together. But when they're separated, I have a little bit more difficult time getting to the Detroit Red Wings tonight. Like, I think Larkin, Raymond, Finney's fine. If you take a look at the matchups, it's really good for the Red Wings. It's pretty good on the Devil side of things. If you take a look at the team metrics here, like, this is a New Jersey Devils team that not very good defensively. The PK is really struggling. The Detroit Red Wings, pretty good 5v5 team. Power plays top 10. Like, this looks like a pretty good matchup for the Red Wings, and this is kind of why I bet on them last night. I just think that this is a Devils team that's maybe not playing as well as many of us thought they would, but this is a good spot here for the Detroit Red Wings. The top line is probably my preferred options. The underlying metrics, I think could use a little bit of work, but the top line's fine. The second line is just kind of what it is with JT Compher there. They need a second line center bad. So I would focus more of my attention on Detroit 1 this evening and less attention on Detroit 2. And then on the New Jersey side, I think it's pretty simple. I don't love the offensive abilities of maybe the second and third line as much as in weeks past with the Devils. I don't hate the idea of maybe getting to like a Mercer Gritsuk mini stack. I don't know if you need to play Palat. Like, I don't mind Mercer Gritsuk mini stacks, 5-10% maybe. But this top line looks really, really interesting. They're going to draw some ownership. But you get a really good floor with these guys. You get a good ceiling. I think it's a good enough matchup. But I also, again, on the same boat, I like the Red Wings tonight. I like Cam Talbot as a bit of a chalk busting option at $7,300, seeing literally no ownership if he gets the start. Now, if the Red Wings surprise us and go with John Gibson, then I think it's kind of all hands on deck here with New Jersey 1. What are your thoughts here with the Red Wings and the Devils?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, this 15% ownership on New Jersey 1 is maybe a little bit scary to me. Obviously, they're a great line together. They're going to play a ton, so I can see why the field is getting there. I'm probably going to meet the field here, but, this is a New Jersey team that's kind of been struggling to score a little bit as of late, similarly to these Detroit Red Wings. So I think that's probably the one thing that just has me a little bit cautious. But, the floors have stayed strong for Meyer, Hischier, and Bratt. And, I mean, the projected minutes that they're supposed to see tonight is going to be just massive. And it's going to continue to be that way with Jack Hughes out of the lineup. So I think for me, I'm willing to get to New Jersey 1 for sure. Want to see some more goal scoring from those guys out there on the ice. But the underlying metrics, they've been solid, right? A good number of scoring chances, good number of high danger chances. And they're going up against a Red Wings team that, are giving up a lot of scoring chances and are giving up a lot of high danger chances as well. So, I'll probably meet the field on New Jersey 1 tonight. I like the idea of a Gritsuk Mercer mini stack. Probably won't go too heavy there, but I think that's definitely a viable route. This Detroit side of things, I'm certainly not going to be all in, but I'm definitely going to be getting to them a little bit here again tonight. I played this top line on Saturday, worked out pretty well. Emmett Finney, 5 shots on goal and an assist in his first game back up there, which was really good to see. So I'm comfortable playing Detroit 1 tonight. I'll be over the field on them here for sure. Might get to a little bit of Detroit 2 as well. Nothing crazy. But Markstrom, like I've talked about it before, he's really struggled this season. 8 starts. He's only got 1 quality start in those games this year. Negative 5.1 goals saved above expected per evolving hockey and an .864 save percentage. His numbers in his career against Detroit have been really good. 10 games played, 6 wins, 2 shutouts, 232 goals against average and a .916 save percentage, but it hasn't quite been the same Jacob Markstrom that we've seen in years past. So I'm okay getting to some Detroit ownership here. I'll definitely be on that New Jersey 1 chalk as well tonight.
Yeah, and if you're looking and saying like, oh, why is it so different in terms of this data? Natural Stat Trick provides this data here for us, and then Sports Logic provides a lot of this data, and the penalty kill stuff is weighted, so it's got some more recency bias, where the other stuff is more just kind of like the entirety of the season. So as of late, the New Jersey Devils PK has not been as good as it has been throughout the season, which it's been pretty good. But just not, as good as of late. So that's the difference in those 2 data points there if you're looking at it and wondering what the hell is going on. Let's get to the Rangers hosting the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, we've got the Rangers minus 136 home favorites here tonight. 3.1 implied total for them, 2.6 for the Blues. Looks like a nice spot for the New York Rangers tonight. New York 1 grading out number 7 on the charts tonight. New York 2 coming in at number 14th. St. Louis, their top 3 lines are a little bit of a mess. St. Louis 1 grading out 30th. St. Louis 3 grading out as the best line to target on that side at 28th. And St. Louis 2 coming in at 36th. I kind of like the Rangers here tonight. They're not really drawing a whole lot of ownership. The matchups are fairly solid for this top 6 here tonight. Obviously, that second line is going to have a little bit of a better matchup with Mika Zibanejad, Will Cooley, and Alexis Lafreniere there. Feels like they've kind of been turning a little bit of a corner here offensively. This team as a whole turning a little bit of a corner here as of late. Still wanting to see some more goal scoring, but the defensive play...
I think that's called positive regression finally setting in.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I mean, how poor were they to start the season? I think for that reason, I'm going to be getting to the Rangers tonight. The same rule applies for me about the the Blues goaltending. Joel Hofer getting the start tonight. I will say he has been better as of late. It seems like Hofer specifically has been turning a little bit of a corner, but the numbers on the year are still not great. .870 save percentage, negative 4.4 goals saved above expected. So I think for me, like I've got no issue getting to this Rangers top 6 here tonight. The line stats aren't maybe as strong as we want them to be here, but this feels like a nice spot. That top line is a little bit weird with Johnny Brodzinski sliding up there. You can probably leave him off of stacks if you want to. Also a decent way to kind of, drop the cost of that line as a whole down even lower. But Trocheck and Panarin look like solid plays here tonight. I think I got a little bit more interest in this second line, though, as a whole. The matchup is just much stronger. The line stats are incrementally better. Still want to see some more goal scoring from these guys. And I think for me, it's specifically around Alexis Lafreniere. I mean, the shot volume really just hasn't been there so far this season. He's still generating a good number of quality chances, but, struggling to find a way to capitalize, shooting just 8.8% on the season here. So I think for me, I'm comfortable getting over the field here on this Rangers side of things. And for St. Louis, man, I just don't know if I'm going to get there much, if at all, tonight. The third line seems like maybe the best line to target. They've got the best matchup. They got the best line stack or line stats rather on this St. Louis side of things. But man, it's just been such a struggle for this team this season. And especially with the way the Rangers have been playing specifically defensively, I just don't really know if there's a need to kind of force it. Like I think Kyrou Holloway mini stacks are fine. That whole top 9 for St. Louis plays a pretty even amount, but for anything beyond that, I just can't really get there. Maybe when Jake Neighbors kind of settles back in after returning from injury and starts to find some productivity again, maybe there's a reason to kind of get to that top line, because on paper, I think it looks good. I mean, Robert Thomas, Jimmy Snuggerud, and Jake Neighbors, that should be a productive line. They're just really struggling to kind of get it done. So I think for me, a lot of interest in this Rangers side of things tonight. Not really a whole lot of interest in the St. Louis side. The power play I think is an okay way to go here for the Rangers as well. Obviously don't have a great matchup or anything like that in this spot tonight, but just the raw penalty kill percentage has not been particularly strong for the St. Louis Blues this season, though they are fairly disciplined, shorthanded just 2.6 times per game. Brock, where are you kind of coming on this game tonight?
Yeah, first and foremost, Vincent Trocheck is a game time decision, as the comment says here. Do we know if he's in? He's a game time decision. I think he's going to play. It sounded like he was just held out for kind of like precautionary maintenance reasons this morning, so I think he'll be in. If he's out, I honestly won't touch this game. If he's in, I'll play the top line, whatever the Panarin, Trocheck line, Brzezinski. If he's there, that's fine. I think he's got enough offensive jam at $2,800 to produce. And what's worse? He could be there and not produce, or you could pay an extra $1,000 for Alexis Lafreniere and he could not produce like he has for most of the season. So the Panarin Trocheck combination duo, whatever you want to call it, has been as kind of strong as it's ever, not as it's ever been, but kind of as strong as advertised. The underlying metrics remain really solid with those two together. So I continue to expect them to find success. The problem is with this second line, the matchup it looks really good. And the price tag looks really good. The problem is Mika Zibanejad's numbers without JT Miller, and then if you take him without JT Miller and without Artemi Panarin this year, are horrific. So I don't know if I can trust Will Cooley, who hasn't had a great year, Alexis Lafreniere, hasn't had a great year, Mika Zibanejad, who has, been snake bit, but now without kind of two of the key cogs that seem to help kind of help him along. I am worried that line's going to struggle a little bit. So I don't have a lot of interest in this game. I do have interest in that Panarin line, maybe minor interest in New York too, just for the sole reason that they are only $13,600. They're pretty cheap. I don't mind taking a stab with as good as that matchup is, that they can maybe find some success tonight against Joel Hofer. On the blue side, I echo your feelings. The price tags are very affordable, and it's because they suck. They cannot score goals. And Igor Shesterkin, maybe has not been the most consistent goalie ever, but this is a Rangers team that is defending quite well this year, right? They're a pretty good team at 5v5. Pretty good special teams. I think this Rangers team is better than people give them credit for, probably just because they were kind of the laughing stock of the NHL when they couldn't score on home ice for a month. But I think there's, like you said, I think they're starting to find themselves a little bit. And there's these underlying metrics for the Blues are just so underwhelming. So until we see a stark difference in what the Blues are offering offensively, I just won't play them in tough matchups. So I agree with you wholeheartedly there. One quick update. I promised it for an entire week last week. The daily faceoff is returning tonight, the head-to-head lineup challenge. So we're going to bring that back. And spoiler alert, but Zach's got Igor Shesterkin between the pipes. So I think that goes to say exactly how he feels about the St. Louis Blues tonight. And this is exactly how I feel tonight. New York 2 possible filler line. They're a good, cheap option that's got some upside. But again, I say this a lot, and we say this a lot. If you're building one lineup, probably not my favorite line tonight, but if you're building multiple lineups, you can certainly get there. Rebecca does not believe me. She was saying, she was the one that called me out every single day last week, saying, where's the head-to-head? It is back tonight. I swear to God, it is back. We'll get to that in about 3 more games. We've got Nashville hosting the Florida Panthers tonight. The Predators, 2.8 implied total plus 121 home dogs against the Panthers. I bet the Predators in this one. I just don't understand the market's love for this Florida team. They are so hurt right now. It's insane. This does not look like a good team. It still might be better than the Nashville Predators. I don't know. But getting Nashville plus 120 at home with the Neil Tarasoff in net and UC Saros for the Pred, I don't know. Maybe I'm out to lunch, but this is just not a good looking hockey team. And it's not like this is a team that's just kind of overcome adversity and playing so they're not playing well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what to make of this Panthers team, but yeah, they're still favorites tonight. So let's get into the DFS side of things. We are not necessarily a betting show. Nashville won. I mean, the charts like them. Grayed out very, very well. 4th best tonight. Not seeing a lot of ownership. Neil Tarasoff between the pipes. Philip Forsberg on the thumbnail tonight. I like Nashville. I like the Predators. I think they're in a good spot to find success tonight. I will say, Daniil Tarasov, to his credit, has been significantly better in Florida than he has been at any other point in his NHL career. Granted, it's only been 5 starts. And if you take away like his relief appearance against the Oilers in garbage time the other night, he had like a 904 save percentage in his first 4 or 5 games. So it's not like he's been a world beater by any means. Nashville won. Going to see 79% of their ice time up against Florida won. That Lundell line, which typically very good. This year, not so good. So I think it's a pretty good matchup for a Nashville line that has had really strong underlying metrics. Maybe not elite, but very strong, and just maybe not capitalizing as much as you're used to seeing. You know, I never know what to do with Ryan O'Reilly. His price tag is always like, I could play him. He also just doesn't offer a ton of a floor, whatever. Luke Evangelista, however, $3,400 offers a pretty nice floor. Forsberg is Forsberg. The reason I like the Predators tonight is Roman Yossi's back, right? Like that's just it. You can't understate how good Roman Josi is at playing hockey. He's unbelievable. He's going to help this power play out a ton. They're also going back to the more like more top loaded power play look. Eric Howell is not on the top unit anymore. It hurts top line a little bit because Luke Evangelista gets bumped out, but Marchessault, Stamkos, Josi, like this just looks like a power play unit that is an NHL power play unit that's capable of scoring goals. So I think for that reason, Nashville looks pretty interesting. The power play report, doesn't hate them, doesn't love them. Going to be a lot of power play opportunities in this game if things continue the way they have. Florida does have the number 1 power play advantage on the night. I have a hard time figuring out this Florida team. I think Marchand's been just unreal this year. I think you could still kind of click on that top line. Siemiskevich offers a little bit of value, a little bit of offense on that top line. I'd probably go there. I have a little bit less interest in Florida 2 with Boquist up there instead of Verhaeghe. I have a lot less interest in Florida 3 with Verhaeghe, Bennett, and AJ Greer. So to me, I think it's kind of both teams' top lines tonight. I think that you could maybe get down to a little bit of Nashville 3. They've been playing a ton. Marchessault back on the top power play unit. Bunting $2,700. Like, the matchup for them is pretty good. They're going to see a lot of that Florida second line. Again, Florida second line, not great defensively. So I don't know. I don't think you need to get too carried away with the Nashville depth. I think this top line's in a really good spot. It's certainly a line that I plan to be over the field on. I think they're okay. Just help me out. Like, do you or do you not play Ryan O'Reilly? Like, I literally never know.
I don't know, man. I kind of agree with you. Like, it's kind of hilarious. Like, didn't he literally just come out last week and just be like, yeah, I've had like one good year in my career and I've sucked every other year. And like, that kind of feels true. Like, I mean, he just doesn't really do a whole lot offensively out there. I mean,
it's not really his player. Like, it's not really his game. Like, he is supposed to be like a reliable two-way starter, but he's just not a number 1 center for an NHL team. And like, I think he's improperly slotted on this roster. And I think maybe he was a little hard on himself, but I mean, we're talking about a 4.17 DraftKings points floor from him at $4,800. So it just doesn't like that is 0.87 DraftKings points per $1,000. It's just not good enough.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I'm comfortable leaving him off of Nashville 1 stacks, but I'm not even going to lie to you, man. Like, is this the best that Nashville 1 has looked all year in a single spot? Like, I can't think of them being this high on the charts at any point this season, having this good of a matchup score, this good of line stats. It's kind of terrifying. But I mean, numbers say they look like they're in a good spot. They're expected to play 31% of the 5-on-5 ice time. And, you mentioned it too, like Roman Josi is back. He really changes the complexion of this Predators team in an absolutely 100%. Monumental way. So I think for that reason, I'm going to get there, man. I'm going to get there on Nashville 1 tonight.
Do you want me to help you feel better about it?
Hit me.
Okay, so again, the stats you see on here are just kind of weighted stats for each individual player combined. On the season, this line has played over 120 minutes together. They have a 67.7 Corsi for percentage, 3.3 expected goals for per 60, 32.8 scoring chances for per 60, 15.9 high danger chances for per 60. They've been absolutely dominating lines. Dominating. Like I don't think it really matters. But if you're planning on playing Florida 1 tonight, here's a reason not to. 36 Corsi against, 1.54 expected goals against, 16.9 scoring chances against, 5 high danger chances against. Like, they are just going to cave Florida 1 in.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm
I
on
like the
Florida.
look of this Nashville one line. I'm going to get over the field on them. I'm probably going to end up getting hurt because that's usually what happens when you play a bunch of Nashville. This
1,000,000%.
Florida side of things, like I agree with you, man. It's really interesting. Obviously, got to look at them on Saturday night against my Edmonton Oilers, and they did not look great. I still think there's routes to go here playing Florida. The top line, Lundell, Marchand, mini stacks. I'm fine with that. Second line, Rodriguez, Reinhardt, mini stacks. I'm fine with that. I'm not playing the third line at all. Sam Bennett has looked awful this season. And I mean, really, so is Carter Verhaeghe. Like a seriously disappointing year. Thus far from him. So I'm fine throwing some mini stacks, maybe a little bit of power play correlation within all of that too. But I don't think I'm going to be getting to the field on full stacks for these guys. 8% for the top 6 full stacks. No thanks. I'm not getting that high. I'll be under the field on them as a whole.
I'm going to continue to beat the drum for Carter Verhaeghe. The poor man is shooting 4.3%. I feel terrible for him. It's the exact same thing that happened last year. But let's get to LA and Ottawa, a game that looks pretty low event.
Yeah, this game is making me feel a little bit nauseous just looking at it right now. Kings minus 148 home favorites, 3.1 implied total for them. Ottawa Senators, 2.6 implied total. Two very good defensive hockey teams here. Two teams that are solid on the penalty kill. Obviously, Ottawa has been much stronger at 5-on-5 offensively, but the Kings have certainly not. And LA1 is one of the higher owned lines on the slate tonight, drawing 9.4% ownership, which is a little bit terrifying. I mean, they were a big letdown spot. I think what was it on Friday slate? We were all playing them there, and they really flopped in a big way. Ottawa 1 grading out 10th overall in the charts. Ottawa 3 grading out 16th. LA1 21st, Ottawa 2 24th, LA2 33rd. Like, I like the idea of playing LA1 because of the fact that, they're finally consolidating up on that top line, but the matchups are just absolutely brutal for this King side of things tonight. Like, they look to be in a really poor spot. For as solid as the floor has been, there hasn't been a ton of offensive upside from this top line for the Kings as of late here. And when you look at the line stats too, it kind of further paints that picture of a team that's really struggling to generate offense at 5-on-5, which feels really unlike the Kings. I mean, this has been a team for years that have been, so-called analytics darlings and really strong at 5-on-5. O'Reilly Hattie, that's hilarious. I would lose my mind if that happened tonight. I just don't know if I can get to this ownership on LA1 tonight. Ottawa has been tremendous defensively this season. I kind of really like this spot to kind of fade the Kings here. I don't even think that I'm really super confident or comfortable getting to a lot of Ottawa either, because it feels like it's been fairly spread out offensively all season long. I mean, that third line has been their most consistent offensive line, might throw a little bit of an ownership their way. The matchups are solid on this Ottawa Senators side of things, but again, the Kings are just a team that wants to kind of choke you out defensively, right? Again, when you kind of look at the charts here, like the high danger chances against numbers for the Kings, and seeing how strong, especially that third line is for the Senators, that's a reason why I think getting to a bit of Ottawa 3 here tonight is okay. I'm fine with maybe like a Stützle Batherson mini stack on that top line. Lars Eller on the second line feels extremely gross to me. I don't think I'll be playing them whatsoever. So I mean, I'm going to play a bit of LA. I'm not going to play 10%. I'm probably going to be over the field on the Senators just because of how low owned they are. I mean, you play them 5% as a full stack and you're already over the field, right? So I'll sprinkle a little bit of ownership on the Senators side of things, but I don't really have a lot of interest in this game whatsoever.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I have pretty well no interest in the Senators. I don't like this team offensively. I don't like the look of these lines. I don't like the price tags on some of their big players. I just know Thomas Chabot, that he's a huge factor. Like, I think that helps Jake Sanderson. Like, you could click on Jake Sanderson. And I think Jordan Spence, it's a revenge game for Jordan Spence. Like, I'm going to get there on some of these defensemen, some of these value options, full stacking the Sens. That's not what I'm doing tonight. This Kings team in the month of November, 5v5 expected goals against, lowest in the NHL. Ottawa over that time is seventh best. So both these teams defend at an extremely well. Both teams offensively either average to below average. The Kings are better in that regard as well. I'll get to LA1 because, like you said, they're fully consolidated. this power play sucks. It's going to figure it out maybe eventually, probably not tonight. Although the Senators haven't killed penalties at a very good clip this year, Levi Marilainen has just not played well this year. So that is just kind of the saving grace here for LA1. I think the chalk is a little bit gross, but I'll probably get there a little bit just because, like Levi Marilainen has not played well this year. To his credit, I mean, he's had kind of just 2 horrendous performances and 2 decent performances. So it's not like he's just the worst goalie in the world, but I just don't trust him as much as I do Linus Ullmark. So LA1, I'll get there a very little bit. Brandt Clark and stuff, some of these Ottawa defensemen and value options are fine, but this game sucks. Utah and Vegas. I mean, look at here. Vegas is just super good at hockey. No surprise there. I think we've seen this Utah team kind of come back to earth a little bit. Obviously, we've talked about it a lot. Really, really good start. Never felt super sustainable. I don't think we all kind of expected like the world to just fall out completely from underneath them, but they haven't been terrible. I think I may be overselling their struggles. They've lost, what is it now? They lost 1, 2, 5, 9 of their last 12. It's not good. This Vegas team, on the other hand, is clicking. Vegas too, man. Underlying metrics, I'll pull them up here in a second, but their underlying metrics, I believe last time I checked, are just ridiculously good. Thomas, Hurdle, Pavel Dorofeev, Mitch Moore. Let's see what their actual are. Yep, very good. 3.3 expected goals for per 60, 34 scoring chances, 14 high danger, dominating lines. They are just way too cheap, and they continue to be way too cheap. And I continue to, I haven't played them a ton, but I kind of get to them a little bit in every slate just because they have been super good. The top line for the Vegas Golden Knights with Braden Bowman up there, it's been solid. The underlying metrics not nearly as good as Vegas too, though. So I think that's interesting to note. I think that a lot of people still kind of click on Vegas 1 just because it's Eichel and Braden Bowman so cheap on that top power play unit. It's a top power play unit that does draw, maybe not the nicest matchup because the Utah Mammoth PK has been good, but it's just a really good Vegas power play that's always going to kind of find some success. And they do project to have a decent chunk of power plays tonight. So I think getting to Vegas tonight makes a lot of sense. I think that second line is certainly one of my favorite kind of lower owned spots. You still get, a lot of power play correlation, a full correlation on that top power play unit for Vegas 2. You got Eichel and Braden Bowman there on Vegas 1. So I think there's a lot to like about the Vegas top 2 lines. I think, obviously Barbashev and Bowman represent really nice value options. They keep that price tag down for Vegas 1, which grades out 8th. Vegas 2 grades out 15th. But just I really think that maybe the charts are underselling just how good they've been. I think they're obviously a lot better than maybe what this suggests. The matchups aren't great, but they're also not too bad. So I really like Vegas. I have a hard time getting to Utah in this spot. I just think it's a really tricky matchup. The price tags, Keller 63, Schmaltz 61 feels a little rich in this environment. With Peterka moved down and Kyler Yamamoto on the second line, I feel a little worse on Utah 2. They go 31st. Like, it's hard to be like, yeah, Utah 2. But I will say Cooley and Gunther, their price tags at least look appetizing. But I just don't think I'm going to get there at all. So yeah, Vegas 1, Vegas 2, both really good spots. I like the Vegas power play tonight. I really like Vegas in what looks to be a pretty low owned spot. And I think it's fair, right? Like, I think obviously Washington looks like they're in a great spot. The ownership makes sense. Tampa against Harrison, the ownership makes sense. New Jersey with that line fully consolidated, I think makes sense. The Rangers kind of chalky, makes some sense. The Kings feels like less good chalk. So Vegas really getting overlooked. And I think it's just because there are other really good environments, but I think they're in just as good of an environment as some of these other lines that are seeing, maybe double the ownership. What do you feel about Vegas?
Yeah, I'm going to be getting a bit over the field on Vegas. 8% for that top line, 7.5% on line 2. I'll easily be at 10%, for both of these lines. I think Vegas is in a really interesting spot. I mean, these two teams met last Thursday in Utah. Jack Eichel, 2 goals, 3 points on the night. Shea Theodore, 3 apples. Braden Bowman, a goal and an assist as well. Dorofeev had an apple. Ben Hutton goal. Cole Reinhardt assist. I think this is an interesting spot here. I mean, you mentioned the struggles that Utah have been facing as of late here. Their goaltending has really been poor over this last stretch of games here. So I think for me, I'm comfortable attacking them here. Don't feel great about Vegas from a power play perspective. Like for as good as the power play for Vegas has been lately, Utah's penalty kill is extremely, extremely solid. So I don't necessarily feel the best about it from that perspective. But I mean, the correlation on the power play unit is nice to see, right? Vegas too, all three guys there are on the top power play unit. And then obviously Eichel and Bowman from Vegas one as well. So I'll be getting over the field on Vegas. I mean, it feels like they're a pretty easy team to get to. I mean, Eichel and Bowman together really aren't all that expensive. And that second line, $16,900, like that's an extremely easy line to kind of get to and build around. So, they both grade within the top 15 on this slate here tonight. That's the cutoff mark that I usually try and target. We try and target. So yeah, I'm not necessarily all in on Vegas, but I'm comfortable getting a little bit over the field on them here tonight in this spot.
Yeah, I was going to bring up that last game as well. Not amazing numbers because Utah is good defensively. Like, don't get me wrong. I just think the ownership here is what makes Vegas appealing because Utah, we talk about it. They do a really good job suppressing shots. They do still give up a decent amount of quality. Let's get to the defensemen and the goalies. I think there's a lot of really interesting defensemen tonight. Darren Radish, 4K, certainly interested in that. I talked about my love for the Lightning tonight, but Charles-Edouard Datus looks very good as well as $2,500. I've been playing him a lot, and I just think that is the most fun name to say in the NHL. JJ Moser, $2,700 makes a lot of sense too, but Charles-Edouard Datus, 22 minutes projected tonight at $2,500. Hard to go wrong there, but JJ Moser, $2,700 makes just a ton of sense too. 25 minutes tonight without Victor Hedman, without McDonough. These cheaper guys are playing just outrageous minutes in Tampa, and I absolutely love all of them. One other guy that I think deserves an interesting show tonight, Nick DeSimone, projected for just 16 minutes, but I think you can confidently expect him to play more than that at minimum price. He is on the top pairing with Mikhail Sergachev. He played 20 minutes, 13 seconds against the Rangers the other night. If you look at his last 4 games, he has averaged 1843 times per game. So I think that he is also a very interesting minimum price defenseman. I think there's a lot of those tonight that you can click on with some confidence, but some other really cheap guys. Noah Hannafin, $3,700. I love that price tag. Brant Clark, $4,300. I like that one as well. Some of these New Jersey defensemen obviously make sense. Nemec, Luke Hughes, Dougie Hamilton, just $5K. If you're stacking the Devils, I think obviously that top line fully correlating with Dougie on the top power play unit, he's going to see a lot of ownership. He makes a lot of sense. Nick Blankenberg is kind of a what you would like to say does a lot of shit on the ice. I think Aaron Ekblad at just $3K, that price tag, as much as I kind of don't like the Panthers tonight, Aaron Ekblad being just $3,000 is pretty alarming. Justin Falk, somebody called him a sniper in the chat earlier. He's been red hot. I agree there. Anybody else that really stands out to you that I haven't talked about besides Jordan Spence at $2,800 in the revenge game of all revenge games?
Yeah, I think the Vegas Golden Knights defensemen look pretty interesting tonight. Shea Theodore, Braden McNabb, Noah Hannafin. Their floors have all been really solid here as of late. Another name close to like right there up at the top, Simon Nemec. I think he's a really interesting play. Correlates well at 5-on-5 with New Jersey 1. He's been playing most of his minutes with Jack Hughes out with that top line. So I think if you're playing Devils top line tonight, I think including Nemec is totally a fine route to go there. Adam Fox looks interesting. Brant Clark, a guy we obviously play, pretty frequently. His numbers haven't been the greatest here over his last little stretch of games, but I'm still okay getting there here. Jacob Chychrun at 6K, like he feels like a great play tonight, right? Highest owned defenseman on the slate, of course, but it just seems like a great spot again. He's been so productive as of late here, so no issue getting there. Couple of cheaper guys, I think Ben Hutton at $2,500 is interesting. He's been doing a lot of shit. Yeah, pretty much covers it, I think.
In terms of just a raw floor, like Jacob Chychrun, besides Zach Werenski, but he's $2,200 cheaper. Jacob Chikrin's floor is just as sustainable and safe and steady as it comes. And at 6K, you can just confidently click on him and just expect, you're going to get 8 points for sure. And then he's just had so many explosion games. Spoiler alert, I've got Jacob Chychrun in my head-to-head tonight. So just in terms of floors per 60 as of late, Dante Fabro just seems to go out there and do it every night. Brandon McNabb, Noah Hannafin, Rasmus Sandin, Tyler Clevin, Braden Schneider, Jonas Siegenthaler, Aaron Ekblad, Joel Edmondson. So, and then you got my guy, JJ Moser. So some other cheap options that have just been kind of doing shit. And and not expensive at all. Favorite pricey D guys, I think it's definitely Chickern. He's my favorite for sure tonight. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely my favorite expensive guy.
Let's get to the goalies, where I feel like based on our breakdowns, me and you are going to be a little bit different tonight. Jacob Markstrom grades out the best. I think that's a real shot at the Detroit Red Wings, and I don't respect it or like it whatsoever. I'd rather pay up for Logan Thompson. Coming into the show, I don't think I was as high on Thompson as I am right now. He has struggled a little bit the last couple outings, which is really uncharacteristic compared to what he did early in the season, where he was just unflappable. But yeah, the Oilers got to him, and I think it just ruined his whole life. But he has given up 4+ goals in 4 of his last 5 starts. But with Kirill Marchenko out, I do think that this Blue Jackets team is going to have a tough time finding some offense tonight. So I like Logan Thompson, who might come in a little bit lower owned. He's a decent pay up option. Vasilevsky, I think, is a really good option tonight. I don't love the defense in front of him, so I think he could see more volume than maybe projected just because they are banged up. But I think that's a game that the Lightning probably win. Shesterkin, you've got him, so I'll let you talk about him in a minute. But I think Darcy Kemper, outside of the maybe a little bit of shot volume concerns, is my favorite goalie at $7,900. I think it's a really nice price tag. I'm definitely going to be getting to him. So for me, I really like Kemper. I really, really like Cam Talbot, and I love UC Saros tonight. So those 3 are the 3 that I'm probably going to focus on the most. Because I think they're all relatively inexpensive and in really good spots. So I like Kemper, I like Talbot, I like Saros, and I'll probably click on a little bit of Thompson and Vasilevsky. How about you?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm probably going to be basically looking at the $7,900 goalies and up, excluding Tarasov. I think that's probably the group that I'm going to be living with the most here tonight. Shesterkin, obviously like that here, fading the St. Louis Blues, who have been terrible. Shesterkin has been great this year. I mean, not like otherworldly great, but he's been really solid on a Rangers team that has definitely struggled this season. I'll be clicking on some Logan Thompson at $8,200. I like that spot here tonight. Darcy Kemper, as you mentioned, the guy we've both been playing a fair amount this year. I'll get back to him there. The cheaper guys, I think I can get to a little bit of Talbot tonight. I don't mind that idea. I'm probably going to get a little bit of ownership on Joel Hofer. Just feels like he's kind of been turning the corner here a little bit in his season. Drawing 6.5% ownership. I'll throw a little bit his way there for sure.
Yeah, to be clear, I just like Talbot a lot. He's been playing well, but also I think it's just such a good chalk busting spot. It's a good leverage play. This one made me laugh before we get to the hat trick pick challenge and the daily face off. Brand Clark will host my funeral, so he can let me down one last time. That's a good one. I like it a lot. Okay, let's get to today's hat trick pick challenge. If you want to participate in today's hat trick pick challenge, all you got to do is drop your hat trick pick in the comment section of the video on YouTube. If your player scores a hat trick, we'll get you a $25 gift card to Nation Gear, so you can pick up some DFO swag. I've actually been running to the mailbox a couple times today because I got some new ones that were due to arrive today, have not got here yes, but they will be hopefully for tomorrow. Looking fresh tomorrow. Okay, hat trick pick. I'm gonna go Phil Forsberg. How about you?
Oh man, I was gonna steal Philip Forsberg. That's no fun. Okay, let's go Roman Josi then.
Oh my God, all in on the Nashville Predators. Shout out to our friends at rotogrinders.com for providing projected ownership for today's show. Yeah.
We got a head-to-head challenge to talk
about. I'm gonna get there.
Okay, perfect.
I'm plug Rotogrinders for a second. If you want to get $20 off your first month of Rotogrinders Premium, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the video on YouTube. Also below the video, 20% off the Action Network Premium if you want to up your betting game, and you also get the link to the DFO DFS Discord, which is where these charts get posted, and we talk about DFS all the time. Got all the late lineup changes. Okay, here we go. We've got tonight's very first head-to-head lineup challenge. We also want to figure out a way or a punishment, because obviously we can't just do what we did last year, but we're going to have, here we go, tonight's new head-to-head lineup challenge. Graphic looking sexy as always. Zach, why don't you go first? Rebecca has been begging for it. It's back. Here we go.
For the record, I was stopping you just so you didn't get any more flack from Rebecca about this. So I was really just trying to look at you, bro.
Looking out for your boy.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been on Detroit 1 tonight. I'm willing to go back. I'm willing to get hurt again here. I think this is a good spot for them going up against this Devils team. I like the idea of attacking Washington here tonight too, similar to you with Strome and Ovechkin. I didn't have enough money playing Shesterkin to get to Chikrin, which maybe is a little bit of a regret for me, but I did get Adam Fox in there on the blue line. I think he's been a solid player as of late. And again, I like the spot offensively for the New York Rangers. I got your boy, Charles-Edouard Atus, on the blue line there as well. Needed a minimum price defenseman. Got Shesty, obviously, at 8K tonight, like him tonight. And then a little Bowman one-off.
Yeah, I went with Strome, Ovechkin, and Chikrin on that top power play unit. I think that they're in a really good spot. I think you get a pretty good floor, especially in a little head-to-head here. Looking for some good floor options here with Ovechkin and Chikrin. But we also want to give you an idea of who we like and a lineup that could win a GPP as well, hopefully. But yeah, I just really think that this Tampa top line is going to play an outrageous amount of minutes with all the injury concerns, and I just think they're far too cheap. Like Cirelli, definitely not the best cash option, but at $4,500, that stack of Cirelli, Hagel, Kucherov makes a lot of sense. And then I literally just had $2,800 left. And I was like, well, might as well get Nick Paul in for the power play correlation. I wanted to play Charles-Edouard, but I ended up with Nick DeSimone at $2,500 as well. So same price tag. And then I went with my boy Cam Talbot between the pipes again. Not the best cash option, but hopefully he at least sees a lot of volume tonight. And I get to 1-0 on the season. So if you've got any ideas, we've got about, 5 months left of head-to-heads. You got any good ideas that aren't outrageous for a punishment for this year's loser, let us know. So far, I think the front runner is the bar challenge, where you have to go spend 24 hours or open to close in a bar, and every beer you drink is, an hour off or half hour off, whatever the case may be. I think that would be a hoot. But okay, God bless. Good luck tonight. Hopefully, you return more money to your bankroll tomorrow than you had tonight. I think we'll probably come on here and do a show, break down the one-game slate, only because it's the Oilers and the Stars. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Plus, I want to hear Zach talk about the Oilers for 45 minutes. So, yeah, let's talk about the Oilers. It's at 9 o'clock, so stay tuned. I don't know what time we'll go live. Maybe the same time. I really have no clue what the plan is tomorrow. We usually don't do one-game slates, but because it's the Oilers, I don't know. Maybe should we just go on to like Oilers Nation Live and just do our DFS show there, Zach?
Yeah, that would honestly be a solid option for sure, I think.
All right. See you guys back here tomorrow. Until then, cheers.
Cheers.